Welcome to This is Jen, episode number 52. We have got Shady Ray here producing. We have got Hallie Lord doing all sorts of stuff that makes this podcast look amazing on YouTube, sound amazing on the podcast apps. I am going to begin by saying, for those of you watching on YouTube, I apologize in advance if anything weird is going on with my hair. Half of my job doing this podcast is hair management. Every single time, every day, there's some flyaway, there's something, but our technology is not such today that I can really see myself that well. So if it's, and this is going to be me, there's going to be like a piece of hair going out like this the whole time. And this is God asking you to let go of your perfectionism. You're going to watch this on YouTube and let it go. Let it go. Just don't obsess about the flyaway hair. So Shady, you let me know from your angle if anything super weird is happening. But look at me. New year, new me. Look at how laid back I'm being. I am my temptation was
New Year who dis?
Right. Shady could say that 50 times a day. And it would not get old. What New Year who dis? Okay, actually merch. We've never done merch on this show. How about that? New Year who dis?
There you go.
That's what. Okay, so I'm selling that. That's going to be the merch for the show, our first ever merch. But look at the new me. This is the new me because when things that should work, that matter to me, don't work, the level of meltdowns that I have can only be described as cosmic. You know in the Avengers, what was it, Endgame or something, when Thanos he gets the last thing, the jewel
thingy?
The gem.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, oh, well, spoiler alert. He makes half the population of the universe disappear. And now I'm going to have people be like, well, Jen, now you've spoiled it. Well, that's a known Avengers plot. That's me. I turn into Thanos when technology doesn't work for me. I am a high-strung and controlling person. So I want you all to witness my evolution as a human being and look at me saying, hey, I can't see myself on the video. Normally I have this big monitor where I can see the shot. I can't see myself. Look at me letting it go.
I don't care.
You know what? My 2021 nickname is going to be Laid Back Jen.
There you go.
That's what they're going to call me. That's what Shady is going to call me. That's what Hallie, she'll be like, someone will say, hey, are you friends with Jen?
I'm and Hallie, call you No Care Jones.
Yeah, No Care Jones. Hallie will be like, you mean No Care Jones? Because
Yeah.
that's what she's like one of those beach bum guys, just like, hey, man, hang loose, like whatever. That's me. New Year who dis?
New Year who dis?
Today is my birthday. We are filming this on my birthday. Yes, thank you. And this is me transforming. This is me becoming a better person. This actually relates to my first topic. I was talking about it being my birthday on social media, on Instagram, as a gift to me. This is an annual tradition. I always ask people to leave a comment if you want new followers on Instagram, and then I ask anyone to just go and find new people to follow. I love connecting you guys with one another. So that is my Instagram birthday tradition. My Twitter birthday tradition, and I say this every year, is to announce that my existence is due to a contraception failure. And so I tweet about that and I say, this is your annual reminder to breed recklessly. It's a big hit.
I love that.
I don't put it on Facebook because all of my extended family follows me there, and I felt like that might be too much for them. So I said something generic on Facebook.
Like,
so I have to approach the different social media differently. You know what's funny though? Heading into PG-13 territory early in today's podcast, if you have children listening, the skip ahead button. Press that about 5 times right now if you have kids in the car. So Kathleen Jones, who you need to be following, it is a requirement of the This Is Jen podcast. It's Hello Kathleen J. It's Kathleen with a K. She's fantastic. And so she said last year, the highest birthday wish I will ever get. She said, She retweeted my annual tweet, and she said, "What a queen. We stan the broken condom that led to Jen's existence." Look, I don't know what you guys expected from this podcast, but I didn't say it. Kathleen Jones said it. She's a good Catholic woman too, so don't put that on me if you think this podcast is too filthy. But you know what's funny is I had this oddly snobby reaction about that. Like, excuse me, it was a failed IUD. Please,
You think
like,
it was a condom,
yeah,
baby?
right. Like, come on, people. Like,
Gross.
really? Yeah, no, that's not me. Like, I'm not like those
Nasty.
people. I don't know who knew that was an area that you could be snobby about. Which contraception failed that led to your existence?
It was
all right.
internal,
Yeah,
okay?
you can. All right,
It
you
was
can
not
turn
external.
it. Yeah, you can turn. Actually, you can turn it back up if you have kids in the car. Actually, for maybe 5 minutes, because I you know what? Just don't listen to this when I kids. Now that I look at my topics list, we might get to Sex and the City is having a reboot. And see, you guys, I haven't been able to talk about Sex and the City in years because it's just not relevant. No one's watching it anymore. But they're doing a reboot.
As they do.
I could, as they do. I could do an entire podcast about the absurdity and anti-womanness of that show.
True.
But so we'll at least hit it a little bit. Okay, so yeah, today's my birthday. That's what I always say on Twitter. But as part of these discussions, one of the things that always comes up is that women talk about their birthdays. And Sadie, you're still in your 20s, so you probably haven't seen this yet. In your 30s, women start to freak out about being in their 40s. They get this number in their mind, 40. That's a big thing, and that's a bad thing. Has it ever occurred to you guys that maybe life will be better in your 40s? Let me just tell you. Okay, when I turned 40, I was a disaster. I actually made a list of this. I had had years of chronic pain. I was still in chronic pain. And by the way, that might be a surprise to you, even people who follow me regularly. I never talk about that because I don't know. It's very
why?
personal. Do you know that I was?
Yeah, I know, but like, why would you don't need to talk about it?
I know. Yeah, it's just you know what it is. I got over a decade or two of chronic pain. I mean, it was on and off for 2 decades, but it was really bad for a decade. And I don't want to debate how I did it. You know, it's like, it's not part of my life anymore. Usually, I mean, actually on and off it is, but it's not part of my life anymore. And I don't want to debate that. However, that's why I have a Patreon. But seriously, this is really one of the big reasons I do a second podcast on Patreon is because that is a place where I can be a little more personal, and I can just talk about things that I don't want it sitting out there totally publicly for any of my haters to come find and start trashing me about. That's a space where it's me and the people who really get me. And so actually this week, just put it up, I just went into my whole chronic pain story and what happened with that, how I got over it, all of that. And Hallie, don't forget to it's patreon.com/thisisjen, and we'll put that up on the there should be, if you're watching this on YouTube, you should see a lovely image of the Patreon URL, patreon.com/thisisjen. That is the kind of thing I talk about over there. So when I turned 40, I weighed 40 pounds more than I do now. I was heading into what would be my second decade of very frequent chronic pain. I'd had it before that, but it was getting really bad. In terms of the work that I did, I liked it, but I felt like I hadn't really found my thing. Alcohol was not in balance in my life, and it never had been. I mean, I should say since I was 21, frankly, it was a few years earlier than that. If my discovery of wine coolers happened a few years earlier.
A nice spritzer.
I had been some level of alcoholic, not like, waking up face down in the street alcoholic, but it being way out of balance in my life, basically since the teen years, and that was still going on, and it was getting worse. I didn't know how to do false eyelashes. I didn't know what my sense of fashion was. I didn't like what I saw when I looked in the mirror. All of that's better now. I got over chronic pain. I lost the weight. I found work that I feel like this is what I was meant to do. This is my thing. I still drink, but I got my relationship with alcohol way under control. I'm not trying to plug my Patreon, but I do want to make the point. I also told that story, my alcohol story on Patreon, how I got that under control, how it works that I still drink, but I got over all that. I learned how to do false eyelashes. And notice I put knowing how to do false eyelashes on the list with
should be.
Getting over chronic pain
It should be.
and alcohol and losing weight. I mean, it was that big of a deal for me. I found a fashion style that works for me. I wear all black all the time.
Me too, actually.
And sometimes I mix it up with a little white, if we want to, if we want to mix it up, if we want to get fancy. But it was when I hit my 40s that I was just like, I don't care about fashion. I just don't. And now I've gone on enough in life to know that doesn't matter for me. And I'm just not a fashion person. I love people who are. I follow them on Instagram. Some of my friends are. It's not my thing. So I give you all of these examples from my life to say, if you are one of those women who worries about some milestone, maybe it's turning 40 or 50 or 60, or some people worry about turning 30. I bet is that a thing with some of your friends? About it. Well, no, I know it's not a thing with you because you're just killing it in every area of life. But you probably run into people in their 20s.
Yeah, my friends that are turning 26 this year are like freaking out. I'm like, calm down.
Why? Like, why?
I'm gonna be 26 this year too, but they're just like they're only 4 years from 30 now, and I'm like, they're like, I don't have a house, I don't want to have kids yet, like all these different.
Oh,
things.
and because they feel like
rushed and like
right,
like they should already be doing things that they're not, and I just try to tell them that it's not like that.
Yeah, see, I think as you go on in life, you start to realize that some other people's timelines aren't for you, and that is another freedom that I've had in the past few years. Is just I don't operate on other people's timelines. And I just feel like I hit the milestones that I need to hit when I hit them. And I just don't feel that. I don't feel that external
You need some
anymore.
Growth to hit some
very
milestones
freeing.
First for a lot of things. You can't just like have a house and just be able to do everything that comes along with that, I feel like.
Yeah, so basically I'm finally where Shady is at 26. It took me a little longer to get there. But that's a great attitude to have. But for you, maybe it's not age. Maybe it's a thing that you're starting. You have to move to a different city, or you have to do a different job, or this is a big one that women do. Maybe I used to do this when I was pregnant. I was so worried that when we had this next baby, that's when everything was going to fall apart because we had this great support system, and it was like, well, sure, my mother-in-law and my mom can occasionally keep the kids overnight when Joe and I go out of town with 3 kids, but now 4 that's never going to work. And I always had all of these fears. Like, obviously, I was excited about the baby, of course, and obviously, love. I mean, my family's best thing that ever happened to me. And actually, I'm going to put out merch. This is also based on the response to my birthday tweet. I'm going to do it. Don't put it past me. Like a mug or a t-shirt or something that says breed recklessly.
Yes.
That's my motto. So obviously I'm a fan. But, when I had 6 babies in 8 years. And so, of course, I would have all these fears that was sure, it's sort of barely kind of working now. But, 4 kids, now that's not, and then 5 kids, now that's what, and 6 kids, that's when the wheels are going to come off. And by the way, I was right with that. The wheels really did come off of our lives for about a year and a half when my 6th baby was born. Yeah, I almost died. He almost died. It took like a year and a half to really get back on our feet. So sometimes you're right, but sometimes you're not. Right, we don't need wheels anymore.
We're good.
Right. This is what I want to leave you with. Whatever it is that you are dreading, maybe it's you worry you won't be able to handle the next kid. Maybe there's some big change coming up in your life. Maybe it's an age milestone. Has it ever occurred to you to pause and say, what if it is not only not as bad as I think it will be? What if it's better? What about this? What if it's a lot better? What if it's like beyond my dreams? I will tell you, my life compared to where I was in my late 30s, it is so much better than just anything I could have imagined. And when I would catastrophize, when I would lie awake at night and get anxious and stressed in my late 30s, it honestly never occurred to me like, maybe it's going to be amazing. Like maybe it is just, we're just taking things to the next level, new levels of win. Like it just didn't occur to me. That brings me to the sponsor of today's podcast. Could you do some sponsor sound effects? Like do 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 do. We as part of the tech. Thank you. Keep it going. Oh, she's scatting. That is a reference to musical sounds. It's not a bodily function. It's sound. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. This is not a sponsored podcast except for today. Thomas Nelson Publishers have, they're sponsoring this episode with the fantastic new book that you can pre-order now, Falling Home, Creating a Life. Where are my downloads?
Old Thomas?
Well, I had this I was prepared for this.
Thomas Nelson?
Thomas Nelson, the publisher. It's the hottest publisher. Everybody wants to work with Nelson, except those of us who are at Zondervan and love it. Falling Home. Falling Home. They're both HarperCollins imprints. It's fine. Falling Home, the book that does not have the subtitle on the advanced review copy that I was sent. It is sure to be a bestseller. It is about it. Okay, it's Hallie Lord's memoir. This podcast episode is sponsored by Hallie Lord, by which I mean she supervises all the post-production.
Oh yeah.
And this podcast will just be like the banana dance song for 40 minutes if I don't plug Hallie's book. So this is, that's a version of sponsored. So I wrote the foreword. This book is actually great. It is called Falling Home. I think it's creating a life that catches you when you fall. And that, man, no one's been through it like Hallie Lord has been through it. She's a superwoman. She's so powerful and funny and strong. And unlike all these other books I read, I love books that are self-helpy and telling you how to live your best life. And I've said before, I get so into them and I get so excited. And then inevitably I Google the author, and like he's 28 and has rich parents and like and his personal examples are like, one time in college, I had some finals that were really hard, and I didn't know if I could do it. But look, here's what we need to do in these situations. Hallie Lord has been through the meat grinder of life. Life took her, put her through the meat grinder.
Rude.
And you know what happened? She came out hotter. But that's not the purpose of the, it's not like how I got super hot. Let's not be shallow. That'll be her follow-up memoir that I beg her to write, where it's like, Hallie, how do you look like that? But it is about how she kept her sanity and got things in place so that, because her background, this is actually an interesting story that a lot of you can probably relate to, that she thought life was going to turn out one way. She wanted the white picket fence. She wanted to live in the same house that she could decorate and fluff her couch cushions or whatever you guys do, whatever you ladies do to make your houses look nice. She ended up moving a lot. She had all these babies. She had like 8 babies in 11 years or something. And it just, life got hectic and crazy, and it wasn't what she thought it would look like. And this book is just some hard-wrought experience saying, just because life is totally different than you thought it would be doesn't mean it won't be okay. And in fact, it doesn't even mean you can't thrive. So Falling Home, go pre-order it, and she has pre-order freebies that you can get. When you pre-order, you get stuff for free. Look her up on Instagram, Hallie Lord. Hopefully, if you're watching this on YouTube, it'll say at Hallie Lord, right to my right to the left on the screen. Hopefully, those words will be there. And I bet it will, because Hallie Lord supervises post-production. So takeaway is, it's my birthday. If you worry about some milestone coming up in your life, don't forget to imagine that maybe it will be better. And the reason I brought that up is I need to give credit to Hallie Lord for that. In her previous book, On the Other Side of Fear, Hallie talked about not living in the wreckage of the future, not always imagining the worst case scenario. And she said, turn your imagination toward the light. Isn't that a great quote?
Yes.
Turn your imagination toward the light. Meaning, when you're lying awake at night and you're catastrophizing, you're thinking of all these dark thoughts, everything that can go wrong with our country and with your kids and with your whatever, or if you're single, with your dating life or anything, with your parents. Don't forget that it might be better. You know, maybe things will be great. I mean, it won't with our nation. Obviously, our nation is the end of an empire. I mean, it's over. We're going to live in, city burning anarchy from here on out. But in other areas of life, don't forget to turn your imagination toward the light, as Hallie Lord says. Final thing on my birthday. You know what gift I would like? iTunes reviews. If you guys have a second, please leave a review on iTunes if you haven't already. Okay. So let's go into, it was just announced, did you hear in the celebrity news world that Michael B. Jordan, he was in Creed and The Wire and Black Panther. He was also, I guess it was People magazine. They do the sexiest man alive. Truly one of the sexiest men alive. He posted his new girlfriend, Lori Harvey, on his Instagram.
That's huge. Okay,
so yes, Shady. So speak up a little bit to make sure everyone can hear you clearly. Explain the significance of posting someone, your significant other, on your Instagram. Why this literally made national news. Why is that so significant?
It's official. It's just like, it's almost better than like meeting their parents, I feel like.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's like everyone knows.
And evidently, Michael B. Jordan, I think from what I'm seeing on Twitter, he'd never done that. He doesn't.
Oh, to anyone?
I don't think so.
Ooh.
I don't think because I guess what it is if you post someone on your social media, if things go south, then you're like, you've got this rando that you don't even like anymore. So you have to be. It's almost like an engagement, right? But I'm actually not even kidding, because when you think about it. I didn't date during social media, so it was a non-issue for us. I had a website when I was dating Joe. I had a website like you could log in and you could FTP your files through the file transfer protocol to the hypertext transfer protocol. So I could have uploaded a picture of Joe to my website. But you see how now people know you guys are together. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's like a debutante ball.
Hunter had an Instagram for years before he started using it a lot, and so
this is her boyfriend. Hunter.
We were dating for 2 years before I was on there, and I was so stoked.
But that's a big day.
Yeah, it was
when
huge.
He finally.
And we had already been together for 2 years, we lived together.
Did he finally post you at your behest?
Because
I would have been. Well, yeah, I would have been really passive aggressive about that.
I didn't say anything because he didn't post all the time. He didn't post anything. He had one post. And
but that would have been a problem if he had been Instagram guy and not posting you.
Oh no, he would have heard about it.
Yeah, that would have been a big. Yeah, you would have had to hack his account. Okay, so Michael B. Jordan, he has officially posted his girlfriend Lori Harvey. I'm not as familiar with her, but I do know who he is. So Twitter is melting down. People are saying support group if Lori Harvey stole your man. That all of these women were holding out hope. That they maybe, hey, look, Meghan Markle did it. She taught single women to dream really big in terms of how marriage can work out for you. And they all had it worked out in their minds. What could definitely happen is I could send Michael B. Jordan a DM. Yeah. And he, maybe we could we could chat a little bit and then maybe he'd be like, cute girl 86701 underscore TX. I'd like to hear more about you. Maybe we could meet up. Oh, you live across the country? That's fine. I'll take my private jet. I think that this could. People have it worked out in their head. Yeah, that this could be a thing. But you know what I was thinking, Shady? While I was watching this story play out, I couldn't do it. I could not date a man that was that in demand by other women because I'm crazy and what I would have to do is I would have to systematically go to every woman on social media who made a comment about him being taken, who made a jealous comment, and I would have to deal with each one of them individually.
Have to cut everyone.
Right. And he has, on Instagram alone, he has 30 million followers.
Woo,
so do
down.
you know how busy I would be? And here's the thing. Not only am I crazy, I have crazy friends. Hallie, I think...
will show up.
I think I can tell the
Posse.
story. Again, she supervises posts. So we'll see if this makes it into the final podcast. What did she do? It was someone's boyfriend did them wrong. And I think that I think she put dead fish in the boyfriend's car and maybe hid it or something so that it would. And if I'm wrong, she can put text up here that tells the full story. That's the great thing about managing post. But no, I'm crazy. Hallie's crazy. And so the two of us, and Shady, I could probably incite you to be crazy. So the three of us, if I were this young single girl dating Michael B. Jordan, we would just ride around all day long and just... we'd be showing up at people's houses. We'd be finding out where they live. And, and I think she's famous too. So I'd have my entourage with me, just showing up at some rando's house in Cleveland, being like, so I saw what you said about Michael B. Jordan and he's my boyfriend. So why don't you guys step off? And could you do that? Could you date someone who just was considered the sexiest man alive? And like, Joe is my sexiest man alive. I know that Hunter is your sexiest man alive. They're amazing men. I'm not suggesting that like Michael B. Jordan is better than whoever my listeners are with and us, but like that he was on the cover of People magazine to incite a bunch of women to want to date him. Could you deal with that?
I don't know if I could deal with that specifically, but if Hunter gets famous, I might have to get a taste of it.
Oh, that's right. And see, Shady is dating a musician. I'd be in jail. And I used to wonder, do I need to stop being this way? And, the conclusion I came to is yes, I probably should. Baby steps. But on the other hand, what I always say that you need to do when you have a crazy side of your personality is ask how you can use it for good. So, like just having this side of my personality, I get very good at research. I can find anyone's social media. I can find anyone's address. I can drive slowly by their house, willing to drive long distance. You learn things. You learn things about yourself.
All very helpful things.
Yeah, like I could be, Hallie and I could easily start a private investigator service. And we would be the best of the best. I mean, truly, we would be the gold standard for that. So whatever is your crazy thing, the side of you that your spouse knows about or that your family knows about, that you're a little crazy. You should really spend some time thinking about how can I channel this for good? What situations do I maybe need to avoid? Like, dating celebrities, that it's a good thing that I never did that. And I think that actually it can be very transformative instead of beating yourself up. See, that's another thing I don't do anymore. I don't beat myself up about the absolutely crazy sides of my personality because it doesn't get me anywhere to just feel like I'm a bad person and berate myself and that, why are you so dumb? Why are you always doing this? I used to do that. And what I found is I never changed. I just got worse in these habits because, when you're beating yourself up all the time, you don't have the energy to say, I'm going to make a change tomorrow. I'm going to transform. And when you just laugh at yourself and say, okay, this side of me is totally crazy and I will work on it. Also, in the meantime, I will also find what's good about this and I will channel it towards something positive. I find in general, I have less time for that sort of crazy thinking because I'm busy channeling that side of my personality. Just the real, what is good about that? I'm loyal and I want like a very cohesive family. And so when I take the energy I have for that and channel it in a positive direction, it actually turns into something really good. So best of luck to Lori Harvey. I'll also just put this out there. Lori, Hallie and I have never done this, but I think we could make ourselves available as a kind of off-the-record dynamic duo investigative service. If you need us to show up at anyone's houses, Hallie Lord does have a very strong history of just getting people in line who are, maybe need to be gotten in line in the dating department. So we are available, Lori Harvey, if you would like to contact us for our services. All right. I was going to talk about these monoliths because I think that's still a thing. I think that with everything going on in the world.
They're still moving around?
Yeah, because first there was one in Utah in the desert, just a monolith that someone put there. And then there was one in Romania. And so I think we're just finding like all the places in the world where people are bored. Because notice there wasn't a monolith in the Capitol in D.C. last week because people weren't bored there. Very interesting place, D.C. last week. But they're in like Romania and Utah where people are like, I'm in the desert. I'm in the desert in Utah and I have nothing to do but get a monolith out
Just
here.
do that. Why not?
Okay. We're not going to go into that whole thing. Let's go into, they're doing a Sex and the City reboot. What it's called, it's not called And Then What? It's called And Just Like That. I guess that's the name of the show.
Huh.
And Just Like That. Here is how we know that the world has really, truly gone off a cliff. I read a Variety article about Sex and the City, and everyone is talking about the original Sex and the City. I almost said the wrong word there. Okay, that was, perhaps that was a subconscious. I see a TikTok coming with that. PG-13 warning if you're listening with kids. People are talking about the original Sex and the City like it's Little House on the Prairie. People are speaking of this show like it is a vestige of bygone conservative days, back when people had antiquated values about sexuality, about gender, and, can they really bring back such a conservative show in the modern era? And I was laughing at it, but then when I realized, they do. Everyone assumes their original gender, like everyone's a woman, and it's women and men, and there's not like genders a social construct. There was a whole article that was decrying the fact that nobody in the original Sex and the City was even bisexual, let alone trans and all this. And I realized they are actually right. Mm-hmm. When you think of the original Sex and the City, it actually does. It feels very Little House on the Prairie. I'm about to make a statement that I want everyone grab the nearest beverage, take a long, slow sip, and you know that I hate it. Thank you, Shady. And you know that I hate it when people tell me to breathe. It is a pet peeve. I hate it because I'm high strung and I'm always wound up about something. And people are like, Jen, breathe. You don't think I know how to? And then I just fixate on my breathing and I get more wound up. But I'm going to tell you to breathe. Take a deep cleansing breath. And I'm about to make a statement that you will want to reject as false. You will desire to reject this statement as an untruth. Jen is speaking falsehoods, is what you will want to say. But you won't be able to say it because it will slowly descend upon you with great swiftness and force that this statement is true. Sex in the City was the late 90s version of Little House on the Prairie. Sex in the City was my generation's Little House on the Prairie in terms of just this show that all of us as we were coming of age turned to, that just old school values, Because I remember at the time, we thought that Sex in the City it was crazy. It was just limit pushing. I remember this friend of ours moved here. So she was these great friends of ours who I love. They had an arranged marriage, fantastic, Indian couple. She moved here from Mumbai. And the wife moved here from Mumbai, didn't know anything about the United States, was just brand new, and came from a very traditional family in Mumbai. And her first week back in the country, I remember she was saying, "Oh, I watched this Sex and the City show, this sitcom. It's just, oh, wouldn't it be funny if people acted like that? That would be so funny. What a hoot this show is." And she seriously, it never occurred to her that people would actually act like that. It was not in her frame of reference. She thought it was a parody. And so at the time, I remember thinking at the time, like, this show is like ridiculous. Like, these women are crazy. But now that's Little House on the Prairie.
True.
Compared to where we are now. So there's no hope. So my take on this is the fact that Sex and the City is now, the original Sex and the City is now this Little House on the Prairie, old school conservative show of, back in the day when we had traditional values. and I mean, they're already saying, like, Variety, the magazine Variety has said they have to be a progressive show, not such a conservative show, if they're going to be able to hang in the modern era. This means two things. One, civilization is over. I mean, because as we define sexuality and what it's for and the meaning of it, so goes your civilization. Name a civilization based on hedonism and that allowed people to just make sex whatever they personally felt like it should be. Name a civilization that did that and lasted more than a generation or two after they made that decision. Not going to be able to find one. But here's maybe even my bigger concern. I have accepted that Western civilization is done. Mm-hmm. I saw that because I am Catholic. I saw that writing on the wall for a while. Pope Paul the Sixth, right? Yeah, Pope Paul the Sixth talked about it in Humana Vitae. He made 4 predictions back in the 60s that are all coming true. I've seen that writing on the wall for a while. I've had a few years now to ease into the fact that Western civilization is done. It's toast. To put a fork in it. Put a fork in the toast. Yeah. I mean, from here on, I think we won't have rule of law and, we'll just be living in anarchy. That's not even what bothers me. I can live with that. You know what terrifies me about this landscape in which the old Sex and the City is this bastion of antiquated values, and they're just going to have to be super way more progressive in order to hang in the new era. You know what bothers me the most about it is that it is going to make our art bad, because all art is based on storytelling, and storytelling requires a coherent worldview in order to work, and it requires constraints that lead to personal sacrifice. Here's okay, that was, I realize no one's with me at this point. I've lost you. Okay, let's take a movie. What was the movie about the hero guys who go to deliver a message during World War I? I think it was 1916 or 1918. Was it, do you remember, Shady? Mm-mm. It's really good. Well, now we have a bunch of movies about the 1918 pandemic coming up. Well, it's the movie. Maybe it's 1917. I think that was it. So it's about these guys. They have to get a message across enemy lines during World War II, and they know they might die heading into that situation. So it's a classic story of heroic self-sacrifice. Well, if you have a worldview in which we don't agree whether self-sacrifice is a good thing, and the guys should have just kind of stayed in their tents and maybe had a drink, played some cards, and maybe that would have been the superior decision. And maybe, or if you don't agree with the premise of the war to begin with, then that's your choice, and that's a valid choice, and maybe you shouldn't have to fight that battle. And you see how, in order to create a great story, you do have to assume certain things about the meaning of life. Like, for example, Fighting Nazis is good. Sacrificing yourself so that other people can live, so that other people can be out of harm's way. That's a beautiful and honorable thing to do. I mean, that's what we love about the Avengers, about superhero movies, that there is a very clear worldview in which there are bad guys and there are good guys, and you can be the hero if you work really hard, even putting your life at risk, putting your powers at risk if you're a superhero, putting everything at risk to help people who will be harmed by the bad guy. Well, those movies are only interesting because we are all beginning by agreeing on the worldview in which self-sacrifice is good. And you can't self-sacrifice if there are not certain rules of engagement that you are pushing up against. Okay, so I know, I realize I'm losing people. Okay, so here's how this relates to Sex and the City. Part of what makes any drama about dating interesting is the idea that human connection is a good thing, that there is something to the idea of gender, that men and women are generally different. And I don't even mean the most conservative traditional interpretation of that. Let's just say, like, if you're a movie director, a TV show director, maybe you don't share every single aspect of my worldview, but you think there's something to gender generally, even if some people behave differently and act differently. And that's a constraint, that as a woman, you're dealing with men and they are different and they have different ways of approaching the world. And yet it is a good thing to try to connect with one another, to overcome those differences, because we all ultimately want that human connection. And when you're dealing with, if the plot line is about men and women, well, then children may arise from this. And then that brings in these questions. If you're dating someone, maybe you're really attracted to them, maybe they're really fun, but then you're thinking, could I raise kids with this person? Could I see myself starting a family with this person, having a golden 50-year anniversary with this person? You know, they're fun, but like, can I go that far with them? These kinds of constraints are what make stories interesting. And if you have a room full of writers that say, there's no such thing as women, there's no such thing as men, sex is whatever you want it to be, marriage doesn't matter. If you choose that, it doesn't mean anything. There's no particular goal of marriage other than just generally being in the same proximity as someone else for an extended period of time. Children don't matter. That's not necessarily something that is worth pursuing. Long-term commitment doesn't matter. You don't have a plot. Best of luck to you coming up with an interesting story where, you know, someone's like, well, I haven't decided on my gender and I haven't decided who I want to date, and whatever I want to do in terms of sexuality, I'll just go do that, and that's definitely fine. And I for the purpose of this take, I am not even, if that's your worldview, I'm not judging that. That's fine if that's your worldview, but it doesn't lead to good art. The greatest stories of heroism, the greatest epics, involve people making sacrifices for something greater than themselves. There's never been, you can't name a story that is a great story, a beautiful story, a moving story that made you cry, where the plot was that the protagonist just did his own thing. You can identify the themes of different movies, like that, the 1917, 16, 18, okay, it is 1917. 1917. The theme of that movie is you should try to save, during dark times, you should try to save as many people as you can, even if it puts your own safety at risk. And I mean, name another great, like Gone with the Wind was this, it was a multi-thematic movie, but it was ultimately a movie about survival and about trying to hold on to the old ways when they need to go, but you're trying to transform as a person. I'm not articulating that very well, but you guys can take it from here. I mean, take a movie that was deeply moving to you, that you really enjoyed, and you can identify the theme of it. you can identify the point of that movie. The Princess Bride, like doing whatever it takes to find the one you love, the one who is meant for you is always worth it. There has never been a great movie where the theme was YOLO, where the theme was you do you. Hey, it was about this guy and no one ever put any constraints on him because he was just free to do his own thing. And then he did his own thing and that was cool. And he just kind of explored himself and the end. That's not good art. So the more you have a coherent worldview that everyone agrees on, the more you will be able to create great stories. And when you start to lose that, you start to lose great stories. And when you start to lose great stories, you start to lose great art. So that's a fun note to end on.
I like that.
For my birthday episode. All right, it is my birthday. I would love to ask you as a present, leave a review on iTunes. I love reviews on iTunes. I read them all. Joe and I were actually sitting there reading them together the other day. We got a great kick out of them. Leave a review on iTunes. Like I said, my Patreon is kind of my behind the scenes place where I tell you guys things that maybe I'm not going to totally put that out there on social media. This week I was talking about my history with just chronic pain and how that came about and what I did about it, that whole thing. So that is up on Patreon, patreon.com/thisisjen. Shady Ray, thank you very much as always for producing. Always appreciate it. Hallie Lord, thank you for all of your work behind the scenes.
Thanks,
and of course, you've got to get Hallie Lord's new book. And I will actually, I will now get you the whole title. Falling Home, Creating a Life That Catches You When You Fall. I wrote the foreword. Pre-order it and then look Hallie up on Instagram at Hallie Lord, Hallie. Look her up on Instagram and you can get the details about all of her great freebies that she has for you when you pre-order her book. And I will be back next week here on This Is